All right, guys. Well, welcome to the Off the Mat podcast with myself, Mr. Brian Harris, and
I'm Keith McMillan.
my homeboy. And as Mr. Keith was just saying, we haven't had an episode in a minute.
Yes, guys, we've been back in the lab working on some new things. If you haven't noticed, we're in a new scenery.
It's wood.
It looks nice, though. I think it looks nice.
It does look nice.
I'm probably clashing a lot with these bright ass colors, but hey, I'm trying to make it work.
I don't know. Felt like it was more appealing. Well, I really wanted to be in the chairs. Honestly, that's why I suggested this, is because I wanted to be in the chairs.
It's funny coming from him too, because I'm talking about you like you're not here.
I know.
It's funny coming from Brian, because you're always the one that likes to put your feet up and relax,
and that's the thing. Like,
shoes off.
I was like looking back at like the episodes, and it's like I'm like 2 steps away from taking a nap.
I think I said that on an early episode. You're like, nah, man, I look cool. No, I'm fine.
I didn't say I look cool. I was like, no, I'm just chilling.
You had your shades on. You're like, dude, I'm a fucking boss, bro. I'm a boss.
No.
So I'm happy now that
I was just a little bit too lax.
if you understood how comfortable you looked. Actually, I said those exact words. You're like, dude, why wouldn't I want to be comfortable?
I do want to be comfortable, but fucking not like Netflix and chill type comfortable.
That's how I felt. I felt like you were at any moment.
I was trying to seduce you, actually.
See?
That's what was going on.
That's what I was afraid of.
You guys don't know that's my master plan, actually.
I'm happy things have now we're in the chairs. We straight platonic friends.
For now.
For now.
Oh, shit. So what's new, man? What's new with you?
Nothing. It's funny. I know we were joking about
Hey, actually, I'm sorry. Before you jump into it,
Okay.
if you didn't bring your fucking journal, I made a promise to you yesterday
that we're gonna fight.
would be fighting.
Oh, my God.
Did you bring your journal?
Bro, we're going to have to fist fight.
Are you serious? You didn't fucking bring it?
No, because I took it out to make sure I had everything else. All right, guys. To be fair, the episode that we're effing talking about isn't even out yet. So I would have read a journal, and everyone would have been like, hey, why the hell is Keith reading a damn journal on the damn podcast? You got to understand that
We haven't released that episode
we
yet?
have not. That is still sitting.
No, I think that episode got released.
No, it was
that was
not.
on the last one. And then
No, it was the last episode that we released was Matt's episode.
Was it?
No, actually, we did Matt's episode.
And then we released
And then we
the one
released-
that we
that was
recorded the
before
week
Matt.
before that. But I think that was the one where we talked about the
No, it was not. It was the one. It was not. It was the night of the snowstorm, I think, or maybe it was. Regardless, we have not put that episode out yet. Trust me, because people would have came up to me and been like, "Hey, when are you gonna read your journal?"
I thought the one. Wait, you have had people come up to you and say that?
No.
Oh, okay.
People would have. February 20th is the episode you're talking about.
And that's the episode we're
That
struggling
has
to put
not
up
came
right
out.
now.
There are 2 episodes that have not been released yet.
I thought it was just one.
No, there's 2 episodes that have not been released.
Fuck. Okay. That makes a hell of a lot more sense. So we're not going to be fighting then.
So we're not gonna have a fist fight, but when the episode comes out,
For
by
his
then you will have.
Because I want a partner on the podcast.
Yeah.
You can keep talking.
God,
Don't worry
no,
about
I
what I'm
appreciate it.
saying.
No, you know what? It's funny because I've been, unfortunately, I took myself out of practice this week so far. Monday I was sick, I had a fever and everything. And then today, my knee. I don't know what's wrong with my knee, but it's just not the same. So I didn't go to practice, but, of course, without a doctor's note, everyone's like, he's just being scared. He's being a little bitch.
Just so you
I'm
know,
not.
if you would have brought in a doctor's note, it would have been 1,000 times fucking worse. Anybody that comes into an MMA gym with a doctor's note that says why they can't train, yo, you lost all
That's
respect
funny.
for me,
I didn't even
period.
think about that.
And I will never show you any respect again after
No,
that.
that's hilarious.
Sorry, I can't train, man.
Sorry.
I got the fucking plague. Here's my doctor's
My
note.
doctor says I'm out for 2 weeks.
My doctor says I can't fight. And be like, dude, my doctor tells me all the time I can't fight. The fuck are you saying?
That's funny. I didn't even think about it. Now I kind of want to do it. Not to you, but I kind of
You
want to.
should do that to
I wanna
Zach.
do it to
Just to
Zach.
fuck with him.
Just bring it
in
up.
a doctor's note and be like, hey, man, I went to the doctor and he said that, I got a sinus infection. So.
Oh my God! Make it like a specific date too. It says I can't fight till March 27th.
Oh, we need to find a doctor. Jason, we need a
Oh,
fake
we'll have
doctor's
Jason
note.
write it
we
up.
need a fake doctor's note. Yeah, we'll message.
What's the condition though? It has to be like some bitch shit, like a stub toe or something. Something that would really like annoy him.
Ingrown toenail.
So
Yo, that's it. That's the move right there. I will say though, an ingrown toenail will put you the fuck down.
Yeah.
That will put you down. But that's the excuse that we're gonna use.
Ingrown toenail.
Yeah, I like that one. I'll talk to Jason tomorrow if I see him in the morning.
Get
for
it
sure.
written up,
If
though.
I see him in the morning, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I need a fake doctor's note."
I'll sell it too. Like I'll walk in with
my
my head down, like sunglasses, like I've been crying.
sunglasses, like you've been crying.
And I'll be like,
Is that
"Hey."
what you do? You wear sunglasses when you cry?
I wanted to. We went to.
You wanted to cry, or you wanted to wear sunglasses?
I wanted to wear sunglasses. My mom's ex-husband died years ago, and I wanted to wear sunglasses, and she told me that was disrespectful.
Really?
Yeah,
Is it?
I don't think it is. I think she was just being her. I mean, I cared for the guy, but I mean, he was.
I was about to say, did he like? Because I know you didn't have a close relationship with your dad. Did he? Was he
No.
like kind of the fill-in?
Not really. It was. I know every week I do it, but he was a white guy, which was really weird. It was
Really?
different. Yeah.
What do you mean every week you do it? I didn't know he was a white guy.
No, I feel like every week I bring up like race. Like, I'm the one.
Oh
that brings
yeah.
it. But
you
I,
are. That's,
No, I mean it's who
what
I am.
you do.
I grew up. I came from Florida. I get it.
He called me a cracker before we started watching. Before we started recording.
you are, but
I love it.
no. It was a white guy, so it was.
Was that weird for you?
Yeah, it was. It was because growing up in Florida, I think they got together by the time I was in 5th grade, end of 4th grade, beginning of 5th grade. They got together, but I was in Palm Bay, which at the time, now it's great. It's a great area, bunch of mixes, but you know, back then, even back
Bunch
then,
of mixes.
bunch of mix of races.
Just a bunch of mixes.
but
It's a
by,
nice little blend. Nice blend.
just nice, delicate. But back
This is
then,
bad.
I was like I experienced racism. Even as a kid,
Yeah.
you would see that. So when my mom got together with this white guy, I was like, why are you with the enemy? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, she's like, I'm getting married. And I was like, whoa. Like, so he's like my dad now? And I remember kids treated me differently when they realized there was a potential, like, I'm mixed. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't look mixed.
Right, but the fact that there's a white dude in the family.
Yeah, but I remember he dropped me off at camp, summer camp. Which shows you how white he was because he signed me up for summer camp. And you didn't like that joke? I thought that was pretty good.
It was good, but it kind of hurt me because it's true.
It's true.
That's such a white people thing. Like, once you said it, I started thinking about it. I was like, fuck, there wasn't a single black kid at summer camp.
Yeah,
when
no,
I
it's
went.
not. We don't.
And we
don't
went
have
every
time.
single year.
We don't have money.
No, we actually only went once.
Yeah.
And then my parents were like, fuck that, y'all ain't going to summer camp.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was cool. Like, they signed me up for it, which I never did after school programs or anything at the time. And then I remember I got out the car. He got me out, like, he's, have a good day. And I remember, like, all these kids, like, surrounded and was like, is that your dad? Is that, and I thought I was
They were like,
cool.
what's his credit score?
What? It was great. Impeccable.
I know.
but,
he
yeah,
came out the womb with a 730.
But I remember, like, I felt cool because, like, it was the most attention I got.
Yeah.
And they were like, and then later I realized, oh, it's because he's white, I'm black. When they were asking me if that's my dad, because I proudly was like, yeah, that's my dad. You know. But then, but yeah, it
They're
was
just trying to figure it out, like, how the
yeah. Why do you look like that if he's
Yeah.
your dad? So
Because I would be that kid. I'd be like, yo, is that your dad?
yeah, and at the time, you got to understand, this is in that part of Florida, there wasn't a lot of interracial couples. You know, now it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
But back then in the 90s, oh my God, the 90s maybe, you know, that wasn't a normal thing. So we would always go out and get looks and everything. I mean, he was a cool guy, and he had discipline, which before he was in my life, I never really had. Like, my mother would, like, beat shit out of me and stuff, but she
Yeah.
never, but it wasn't like he was strict. Like, he was like, you can only watch TV here. You can only do this then. You know, you need to, you know, he showed me tough love, which I needed, and he made me do chores, and, you know, like, he forced me to kind of, like, be a child instead of just being a nightmare running around like I was to my mother. And he helped out, but in the long run of things, he wasn't, it didn't work out clearly. And I resented him for a little bit. You know, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, he was, but he was a nice guy. He was a guy to me. I don't know. I think one time I told him I loved him, and he was like, what? I was like, I love you. because he was in my life now. This is probably like the second or third year he was married to my mother.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love you. Like, he's a part of my life. But I don't know. I never really felt. Mind you, I was an annoying.
Did he say it
terrible-
back, or was he just like, that's cool, and then just keep...
No, he was literally like, that's cool.
Seriously? He didn't say it back?
Yeah. I was a nightmare, dude.
Yeah, but still, man.
You know, I'm
You're
going.
a fucking kid.
I am a kid, but I don't think he experienced that. You know.
Did he didn't have any kids of his own?
No, he did not. So I think it was a
That
lot,
that
you
probably
know.
makes... That probably had something to do with it as well, you know?
Yeah, you know, I don't think he hated me or anything, but I
No,
think,
he did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's go with that. He's
I'm
dead
just
now
joking.
anyway. I don't give a fuck.
Fuck.
so.
Oh, shit. Try
Yeah.
to make me feel bad. My
Nah,
bad.
He's dead. So if you hated me, have fun in hell.
Damn.
No, I'm joking.
Damn.
I'm joking. That was
0
a
to
joke.
100.
That was a joke. No, but
So I would imagine that would be weird, though, growing up with a white dad being a black kid, you know?
yeah, you know, especially when you experience racism and then, you know,
Yeah.
come home and be like, hey, why does your people say this shit to me?
Why does your people...
You know? I mean, it was never like that cut and dry, but I don't know.
Did you ever ask him about racism? Did you guys ever have a conversation about it?
I don't think we had a lot of conversations.
What did he
No.
do for a living?
He was a nurse. What's that laugh? Why are you laughing?
Because I immediately think of Meet the Fockers, or
Oh.
like Meet the Parents. And he was like a male nurse.
Yeah, no, I mean,
that was like the big joke of the whole series. So I don't know. Once you said that, it just like fucking tickled me a
no.
little
In
bit.
this society,
Way to go,
nurses-
Fokker.
I mean, it's normal now, but I mean, back then, I guess it was a little odd. And he was a nurse. My mother was a nurse, and that's how they met. And they worked at a nursing home. And yeah, they got together, and I think it was a great time in her life. And there was a lot of positives. He was really good with money and things that my mother wasn't good with. My mother was good at making money, but she can't keep money to save her life. And he had a positive influence. He used to make me read at night.
He didn't know you couldn't read.
I mean, he found out.
You found out real quick.
Nah, I mean, I'm self-taught, but I don't know. He gave me healthy habits, and he rewarded me when I would do something. Like I remember he bought me a Game Boy and Pokemon Blue when I
What the hell did you do to deserve that?
I had good grades and
Because at that time, that was like the shit.
yeah, no, I mowed the lawn.
That wasn't cheap.
I mowed the lawn and I had good grades, and before that, I would always like be like below average. I was a terrible student, and then to be fair, the one thing I can say, and I'm not trying to, you know, he left my mom, so I'm not trying to give him total praise, but he was the first one that got me into computers. He bought a computer and said, and I remember him telling me how important this computer will be in the future, and he bought me a typing program. And he's like, this is going to be a very valuable skill to be a fast typer, because this is the future. Like, he was very intelligent when it came to that stuff. And
Interesting.
that was valuable.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think if he would stay in my mother's life, I think I would have had a different path in life.
Yeah.
You know, because my mother, once she left, you know, once he left my mother, you know, they were heartbroken. You know, she was heartbroken, and my mother had to go back to work and working full time and kind of let me run amok and do my own, you know, be on my own, let me run the streets and everything, which she could only control so much when she's working 16-hour shifts.
Yeah.
You know, but I think if they would have stayed in each other's lives, I think I would have had a different path. Because he was very keen and very, like, this is the future. You need to put your skills into this.
Interesting. Did he like maintain that all the way through?
I remember the last couple
Like
of
he
months.
just kept on telling you about shit like, yo, this Amazon thing you keep hearing about, like that's gonna be the tits.
Maybe he did, but I probably wasn't listening, or I didn't comprehend at the time.
Yeah.
But I remember he was in the stocks. Like, he was very, like, he knew how to invest.
Yeah.
And, you know, we didn't have that knowledge at the time. Me and my mother, we really didn't have that knowledge. You know, it was kind of like you're just kind of living for the moment. You know, and he's worried
Yeah.
about the future. And, you know, we're worried about getting money and having the next nice thing, you know. But yeah, rest in peace. And he was a nice guy, and they split up. It was really weird. And he got really racist towards the end, too.
What?
Yeah, I don't want to say he was racist all the time. I don't want to besmirch his name like that, but he got in a fight with my mom, and he was very.
He didn't. No,
and
he
yeah,
didn't.
and
He did not.
Called her.
No.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
And it was like, and it was weird because so they had a house party, and then somehow they got like in a fight, like a physical fight, and then out of rage he called her the word, and then I was at his.
Were you there whenever he said it?
No, I was actually at his family's nephew's house.
You were at his family's house?
Yeah, staying the
You
night.
were at the enemy's house?
And I remember,
You might as well have been at Klan meeting. The fuck?
and I remember like him picking me up, and him being
He
like,
picked you up?
he had to.
Holy
He had to
shit.
pick me up the next day and take me home. And I remember him like, I remember it was like really quiet. And he was like, "Hey,
Just so
so-
you know, this happened.
well, he didn't say it like that, but I remember him being like, I'm probably not going to be around a lot. And, you know, your mother and I kind of had a disagreement last night. And, you know, I just don't think I'd probably be coming back around for a while. And I remember being like, oh, okay. Like, I was a kid, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
what did they fight about? Do you know? Like, what stemmed that fight?
I don't remember. I'm sure it was something stupid. My mother.
Just kind of spiraled out of control there.
Yeah, it might have been with money, or it was either with money or I don't know. Who knows? I'll never know the real story.
So-
but I remember it like got physical. Like I remember one part it was physical because my sister was there. My sister was like, yeah, I had to jump on his
Oh,
ass.
so she told you everything.
My mother told me everything when I got home.
Okay.
And then I remember like he was so irate and he was like, "You dumb." And then yeah. So, you know, it was like.
That's not cool.
But it was crazy because when I heard it, he was such a nice guy and such a sweet guy. But it's like, I remember having that thought, and to this day, I kind of like feel like everyone's capable of that. Every white person is capable of using that slur in such a nasty way.
Yeah.
You know, and that stuck with me for a long time. And I mean, at the time, I wasn't really mad at him, and I'm not mad at him at all. You know, because I only remember the good times when I reminisce about people, but. You know, I remember being like, "Oh, that sucks," because he played, at least for those years, he played a big influence into my life.
Yeah.
And to know, because you always like, did you always feel that way about me? Is that how
Right.
you saw
That's
me?
a game changer right there, dude.
You know, did you ever really love my mom? Did you love me? And you know, I felt stupid telling this guy that I loved him, and you know, and I'm not saying he felt that way always about me, but that was in him, and he wanted to hurt my mother, and it sure did. I remember my mother crying.
So did they get back together after that? Or
No,
was
they got
that-
divorced.
That was the
was it.
end.
That was the end, you know, and I'm sure, you know, being an adult now, I understand how hard a relationship can be. Relationships are
They're
not,
nightmares. That's why I don't fuck with them.
Well, they're not.
They're
not
terrible.
all
Dude. I want nothing to
nightmares,
do with that shit.
But you have to work at it. And-
Exactly. It's a nightmare. I work too much. Fuck that.
No, but you know, and you know, I always think about that though, you know, and he's dead now, and I'm not trying to bring down his name at all. And like I said, he was a good guy for majority of it, and you know, he let his emotions get the best of him, and that hatred was in him. And because I remember my mother telling me his mom was racist. His mom was old. He used to care for his mother,
Yeah.
and she was in a wheelchair. And I remember his mom, like, I remember her being like, his mom's racist, so be careful when you're around her. Because we'd go out, you know, he had to take care of his mom. But his mom was like the biggest, like, Michael Jordan fan.
Even though she was racist.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, she had posters of Michael Jordan, but she didn't like black people.
It's funny how like hypocritical racists isn't it?
Yeah.
Like they hate black people, but they love Michael Jordan. You know, or
Yeah.
something fucking stupid along those lines. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, I was a weird kid. But
My dad was racist. My dad.
Really?
Yeah, my dad was fucking.
and it didn't
racist.
influence you?
Hell no. Hell
Okay.
no. Because I grew up in St. Louis. My
Right,
dad was
right.
My dad was a country boy. Like
Okay.
He grew up in Kennett, Missouri. If you don't know where that is, it's right next to Arkansas, like as south as southern Missouri can get.
Right.
So he had. Man, I wish I still had like. I used to have like a recording of his voicemail. And you could just hear his voice. Like if I played his voice for you right now and you heard his accent, you would be like, that is not your dad. You're lying. You're fucking lying.
Right.
Like, you would imagine him with a cowboy hat and everything, the way he sounds. But yeah,
Like, was it up here? Like, did he have like that goddamn voice?
it was just like, oh, man. The last time I talked to him, he had called me, and I didn't recognize the number. He had gotten a new number. So I answered the phone. Otherwise, I wouldn't have answered the phone. And I answered the phone. I was like, hello? And he goes, Brian, this is your dad. Just like that.
Right.
That's exactly it. It was like, Brian, this is your dad. That's how he talks. That was just like, I don't know. That one phrase I can remember is like, that one's like stamped in my head. Past that, it was like, you got to remember, I haven't seen my dad in 14 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can barely remember what he looked like unless I see a picture.
Can I tell you something like I remember now? But
Okay, yeah, fuck yeah,
Okay.
you can. What do you mean? You can tell me
like,
anything, bro.
So when my mom was married to this gentleman, I used to go over to his family's house, and like, cause he had nephews my age,
Yeah,
and like they had N64, so we played video games and everything. And me and the kids were cool. But I remember my mom always being like, so I would go see his sister, and then his sister was married to this guy. And I remember my mom always being like, that guy's racist. But I mean, he never like said anything to me. He never treated me any different way. And I remember one day, now it like it was like, oh, he
did
was.
this like just clicked like just now?
No, it clicked
Okay.
a couple years ago. But I remember like one day we went out to Taco Bell, and I remember like we all got food, and I got a Mexican pizza, and the kid wanted a Mexican pizza, and I was like, we can share. And I remember the guy very like adamantly be like, no, you guys will not share. And I remember he wouldn't let the kids eat after me or like share any food with me.
See, that's like a deeper kind of racism
Yeah.
there.
But
Then he's just saying you're not even human at that point.
right. So I remember things like that now. I was like, oh, that's really weird. But just because I know someone's out there listening right now, I was like, that's not that racist. But
That's racist as fuck. That's super, super deep racism.
Right. So mind you, I was in 6th grade on this time, 7th
That's
grade.
like, oh, he drank out of that cup, throw it away.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
That's how he used to treat me.
That's not good. That's really bad.
So
That's like as bad as it can get, just about.
Right. So I showed up I was like 16, 17, I was in the neighborhood. And I was like, I'm going to go by and say hi to these people. Not realizing, so I knock on the door. Mind you, I'm a teenager now.
Yeah.
I've been playing football, so I'm in decent shape. And I remember I knock on the door. He answers the door, and I was like, hey, what's going on? And I say his name. He goes, who are you? I was like, I'm Keith. He was like, I don't know you, man. He's like, you need to get away from my house now. And I'm be like, what? And I like kind of laugh. He's like, it's me. He's like, get away from my house now before I call the cops. Get away. And then his wife, who knew me, comes to the door and was like, what's going on? Who's that? And I was like, hey. And I said the lady's name. And I was like, it's Keith. And she goes, oh my God, Keith, I haven't seen you in years. Come in. And I remember being like, oh. And then he was like, I remember him being like, oh, I guess we do know you. And he's like real hesitant, and he like sat down, and I was like, hey, yeah. And I still didn't process what was going on. I was just like, so I sat down with him for like 5 minutes, and I was just like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I was in the neighborhood, wanted to see how your kids were. We're all teenagers now in high school.
And how old were you again? You're like 15, 16?
15, 16.
Okay.
And I remember being like, yeah, I would, it'd be nice if I could stop by sometimes and hang out again like the old days and blah, blah. And I remember him immediately was like, yeah, you don't need to come back around here. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, like, she was nice about it, but I remember him being like, yeah, you don't need to, like, come around here, man. He's like, yeah, they gave me he gave me some excuse. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I remember, like, I was like, it's time to leave, Keith. Like, he didn't say that. I said that to myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, it was nice knowing you. And I kind of, like, gave her a hug, and I kind of just walked out of the house.
You gave her a hug. That was ballsy.
Well, she never
You're
treated
lucky
me
he didn't shoot you on the spot,
oh my
though.
God, 'cause
Fuck.
nowadays, he probably would have.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I saw all of them at the funeral, too.
Oh, how'd that go?
He shook my hand.
Really?
He, like, walked up and shook my hand, and I was like, hey. I mean, it was a tragic day, but, I mean, and I remember I saw the kids and everything that I haven't seen since I was in elementary school, and, and the lady gave me a hug. And
What do you think the kids are like now?
The kids were intelligent. I don't think they don't follow after their father.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, when I saw them at the funeral, they were in college, like, you know, state college and stuff. So I think they were good kids. I mean, they could be ignorant fucks, you know.
Yeah.
But in my world, I would like to believe those kids, because we played together as children. I would like to believe they don't have such ignorant thoughts. I could be wrong, though. They could be, you know.
Man. No, I mean, I would imagine they probably saw through that shit. Like I said, I saw through it with my dad.
Yeah.
Like, even at a young age, I knew, like, all right, the way he's acting isn't right, you know?
Yeah.
So, it was actually funny, though, because after my dad passed, so, like, my dad was very against, like, he's like your classic, he's very conservative, just fucking super Southern.
Right.
You know, fucking white dude.
Right.
And he was like racist. He was against gays. He was just against everything, you know? Like you're like
Right.
just
No.
the classic like white dude of like you stick with your own kind
Yeah.
and like that kind of guy. That was my dad, right?
Right.
So like it wasn't even after he passed away, fucking once I stopped talking to him, like I felt like I was like I had more freedom, you know what I mean? Like even though I didn't live with my dad, I felt like I couldn't do shit just because, you know, like I still saw him on the weekends, and it was okay. So check this out. All right, here you go. Here's the kind of guy that my dad was. So I've told you before that like my dad, he was bipolar, right?
Right.
So here was one of the things. So like my mom, after they had split up, she was dating Jerry, who's the guy that raised me, right? Who I consider my dad to this day.
Right.
And she was with Jerry. And I would see my dad every other weekend because my mom was entitled to full custody, but she still let him see me every other weekend because she didn't want to deprive me of my father.
Of course.
So I'm seeing him every other weekend. And I've told you a story about my dad, like, losing his shit on me and, like, fucking me up over some little shit.
Yeah.
Bro, check this out. If I accidentally called him Jerry, he would freak the fuck out. Because that was a weird thing for me, you know? It was like every other weekend, that's my dad. But then every other weekend and every weekday, that's Jerry. You know what I mean?
Right.
This father figure, you know? And now that I'm around my dad, like sometimes in moments I'll be like, hey, Jerry, I mean Dad. And it was just like game on, switch flipped, right?
Right.
Just piss the fuck off. So I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. I completely forgot where I was going with it. But yeah, no, he would get pissed off at me. So he was like, okay, yeah, that's what it was. He was an extremely like racist, like very inline guy, like against like gays and everything.
Right.
All of that shit. Like your classic person that you would imagine being like that. Classic bigot.
Yeah.
And once I stopped like talking to him and stopped seeing him on the weekends and whatnot, I always felt like whenever I was seeing him that I couldn't like fully be who I was. You know what I mean? So like if I was attracted to someone that was of a different race than me,
Right.
you know, I felt weird like attempting that, right? One, because of what my dad would think, but then two, also just like his judgment on the whole thing throughout the time made me feel like it was a weird thing for me to be attracted to someone of a different race. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it didn't stop me. Like I knew like she's pretty, right?
Right.
I like her, you know, regardless. But it made me feel weird because I'm like, but Dad would not approve of this. So there's a reason for that. So it made me feel weird for like feeling that type of way. And then once I stopped talking to him and everything, it was like game fucking on. I was like, I got my fucking ears pierced after that. That was one thing he was always against. One thing he would always say to me as a kid, it was like, if you ever come in here with your ears pierced, I'm going to strap wings on you and make you a fairy for real.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of guy he was, dog.
Right.
So like once I stopped talking to him, got ear piercings, started dating a black chick. Right off top.
Oh my God.
That was like the first step,
Yeah.
right off top. I was like, fuck that. He's not here anymore. I can do whatever I want.
That's insane, man. It's weird how influential and how we can learn from our parents.
Yeah.
You know, because you could have been like, I need to go by my dad. You know, this is who I am. These are my values and fundamentals.
And that's the great thing, though, is my mom was the exact opposite.
Right.
The exact opposite. She was like, no, you accept everybody for who they are. Nobody's different, yada, yada, yada. Like, she was the exact opposite. She was like, you accept everybody 100%. So that was always, like, the ongoing joke was, like, after I stopped seeing my dad and everything, got my ears pierced, started dating a black chick.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, could you imagine if your dad like saw you right now? And we would just like laugh about it. Like that was the thing. But it was weird though, because I felt so restricted even whenever I was seeing him, even though I knew like he wasn't going to be there when I got home from school.
Right.
But I still felt wrong like having an attraction to someone of a different race, or felt wrong with the fact that like I wanted to get my ears pierced because that's what all the other kids in my class are doing. That's the cool thing to do. But I feel weird because my dad says that it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
and I didn't understand to question it. You know, that's my dad. Why would I? He's supposed to steer me from wrong towards right. So,
yeah, you know, ignorance is a crazy thing, and it's like, how have you made it this long on Earth? You know, with that mentality.
Yeah.
But I mean, they come from a different time. They come from the 50s, 60s. You know, and it's like that's how you're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know.
Now technology, motherfuckers be getting exposed left and right.
Yeah, you know, and it's like
if you're in public, you need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, no, yeah, you can't just
old racist man.
Yeah, you know, I don't know, man. Growing up in Florida, I think taught me a lot, and it helped
Florida's
me.
Weird. Didn't teach you how to count.
No, it did not. Was that a voting joke?
Yes.
Okay, I was making sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was.
Sorry,
I just saw.
I'm fixing my seat.
You do your thing. I just saw a documentary. Well, it was a docu-series. Like, I don't know if you've seen them on Netflix. It's like the 90s, the 80s, the 2000s. And I was watching the 2000s, and they talked about that whole voting Florida crisis. And I found out that like the whole thing was because of the butterfly ballot. I don't know if you knew that, but it was like a fold-out ballot essentially, where you punch the holes in the middle. Mm-hmm. So like where it folds out of the fold is where you would punch the holes, and then there's names on the left side and names on the right side. So people were punching holes for this fucking governor that's on the right side, but they thought they were punching holes for Al Gore, who was on the left side. So then they voted for like two different governors, and then there were a bunch of votes that just weren't counted.
Do you remember who won that?
Who won that election? Mm-hmm. Who actually won that election? I mean, Al Gore should have won that.
Yeah, but you know who won that?
I know who won was Bush. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, those were weird times. I remember.
Why'd you ask me if I knew who won that like that? Like I didn't know who. Like I didn't know who fucking president was.
I'm trying to fucking segue into a conversation.
My bad, bro. I thought you were trying to question my intelligence.
No, I wasn't.
There. I was like, you know, I wasn't like in the womb or anything.
I was trying to fucking have a smooth transition. You just.
Either way, let's act like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Ask again. We'll just do it over. Do you
remember who the president was?
When?
After the votes were counted.
Oh, George Bush.
Yes.
George W. Bush.
Yes, man. And
you know what the W stands for?
What's the W stand for?
I think Wayne.
George Wayne Bush?
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like we should probably look that up. I feel like
I'm pretty sure. You got it? You got it. Look that up. I'm almost positive it's Wayne.
Has he won you over?
What do you mean?
George W. Bush.
What do you mean by has he won me over?
With his relationship with Michelle Obama?
I don't know what that means.
Walker.
It's Walker. That's
George
what it was.
Walker
Bush. That's right. Yeah, Walker, Texas Ranger. You fucking hillbilly.
I mean, Wayne could go too.
Yeah, same thing.
They just exposed John Wayne the other day too.
What do you mean? What happened?
He was like a racist.
Oh, come on. Who didn't see that coming?
Oh, I know, but still.
Right?
I know.
So what do you mean? What's their relationship like? Are they close? I know the Bushes and the Obamas are close. I didn't know it was specifically George Bush and Michelle Obama.
The whole stigma of like back in the day, at least. I'm not talking about now. Maybe things have changed. But like, you know, if you were Republican, you were like this hardcore racist white guy.
That's the perception.
Yeah, perception.
The general perception. And that's coming from the other side. So like lefts would view the right side as that. You know?
So in the past couple of years, you've been seeing photos with like George W. Bush and Michelle Obama, and like, Michelle's hugging him, and everyone's like, "Look at this sweet old man now," and it's kind of like, oh, maybe he was never really racist.
Did he make like racist comments?
Not at all. I don't think George Bush ever did. I think, it was a whole Katrina thing that happened at that time, and I remember, Kanye West came out. And was
George
like,
Bush doesn't care about black people.
Yeah, and I think it's easy, especially in that time of crisis, just to be like, yeah, he doesn't. Now seeing how crazy Kanye West is now, maybe that wasn't the best, guy to follow.
Yeah, we didn't know that then. I think that, I don't know. George Bush is an interesting guy. I think a lot of what am I looking at here? Yeah, so here's the thing. I don't know how to say this about George Bush. Yeah, no. So, okay, here's the thing. I knew that the Bushes and the Obamas were very close.
Right.
And I think that's something that should be from one president to the next. If that makes sense. So like, what are you doing? What are you freaking out for? Okay.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I just got this weird ominous text message from a number I don't know that says I'm here.
Smiley face.
Smiley face.
Don't forget the smiley face.
So, I'm going to see where this area code's from. It's a California area code.
All right. Turn that shit off then.
Bro, someone might be waiting outside for these hands, bro.
No.
Someone might be out there ready to get
Not
the
happening.
heater, bro.
Not happening.
Well, let me text him back, but like you texted wrong, Keith.
Do you have a California number?
Remember, I came from Cali, bro.
Yeah, but do you have a California number?
No. I got a Florida number. 321 till I die. Sorry, that was
You like looked at me for approval. Like, yeah, get my back on this.
bro.
I'm like, the fuck? I'm not gonna support that.
He's supposed to be like, yeah, gang. Bro, you been saying gang all night.
Gang.
All right, let's get focused. Sorry.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
anyways, no. So the relationship between the Obamas and the Bushes, I
Right.
think that relationship is necessary from one president to the next when, quote unquote, handing off the torch. So I think that the Clintons should have had an amazing relationship with the Bushes, and I think that the Bush senior should have had a great relationship with the Clintons. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like so on and so forth, the whole way down the line, and it should be the case with the Obamas and the Trumps. That's not the case.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't. Was he?
I mean,
How did you feel about the whole Katrina thing? Like at the time,
I was a kid, and it's devastating. And I wish the world was made of cookies and sunshine and milk, but it's not. And I didn't understand the crisis and the debt and how much volunteers, and I don't understand the FEMA situation. I don't understand all that. So whatever was going on at the time, I couldn't comprehend. I still don't comprehend to this day, and I'd rather research it than give you some unintelligent comment. I don't know. I mean, it sucked. It was a tragedy. A lot of people lost their homes, and I imagine some people still haven't recovered from that.
yeah.
And that's devastating. But you can't. That's Mother Nature.
And that's the thing about like when George Bush was president too. Like George Bush, a lot of people come through and say that like George Bush was a terrible president. And I will say that he was not the greatest president by
Right.
any means. I wouldn't say that he was necessarily a terrible president, but he definitely wasn't the greatest. You see that with his response time to Katrina.
Right.
That was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. That should have never been the case. The second that a natural disaster like that happens, and especially your own people, American citizens are
Right.
dying and suffering and trying to survive. Like, you need an immediate response, no questions asked. You need to figure it the fuck out. You can't sit back. The longer you sit back, the more people die. And then two, the way 9/11 went down too.
I mean, yeah.
The way, and I'm not saying the fact that 9/11 happened while he was president, that isn't his fault at all. But if you're reading to a second grade class and you're Secret Serviceman or whoever the fuck it was that came up and whispered in his ear that 2 planes just crashed into the World Trade Centers.
Right.
And you continue to sit there and read to a second grade fucking class. Like, that's a no-brainer. The first thing you do is get up and walk out immediately and figure out what the hell's going on.
It's devastating. And like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of that situation. And you know, his presidency was tested a lot. Because those are two huge, world-changing, you know, tragedies that happened.
Yes.
And that forever reshaped America. But like I said, I can't comment too much because I'm not well educated on that. I wasn't in New Orleans, and you know, I think we talked about it on the last podcast about 9/11 too. Which, sorry, folks, it's not out yet. It will be.
It'll be out, man. We talked about it a little bit as far as like the conspirity theory. We talked about conspiracy theories is what it was, and that's like the ultimate conspiracy theory is that 9/11 was staged and the Earth is flat and Alex Jones is crazy.
What a great podcast that was.
That guy's a freak.
Him getting upset, like I don't know how you don't have a heart attack.
He gets upset at everything.
But that's his character, though.
0 to 100.
That is his character. When he was screaming at Eddie Bravo, and that was such like a guy move. And he's like, "You think you're fucking tough? You're gonna get it." Like,
oh my god,
I replay that part over and over again,
dude. And then he just wanted to get choked out. He's like, "Yeah, choke me out. What are we fucking pussies here?" I was dying laughing. Yeah, that was, I don't know. He's just a little too much for me. He gets too intense.
When someone calls you by your last name and challenges you, you know it's on.
Is that what he said? Mm-hmm. He called him Bravo?
Yeah.
Oh.
So you think you're fucking tough, Bravo? You're going to get it.
He could have been talking about Johnny Bravo. You never know.
Do the monkey with me.
That's a real thing.
It is. I'm kind of embarrassed to do that on camera.
No,
all right.
It's fine.
So
it's done.
Let's move away from the race relations stuff.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, man. We just got done with the UFC fights.
We did. I think a lot of things. No, it didn't go down as expected, but damn, what a card.
I thought it was weird. I thought the card was weird. Like, I thought that the fights were, like, looking at the fight card, it's a fantastic card.
Right.
But, like, actually watching the fights, they were really weird to me. You know, because I feel like all those fights, especially, like, leading up to it, like, everybody kind of has, like, a rough idea of what they imagine is going to happen. And that really didn't happen in any of the fights, at least in my mind. So let me just give you an idea of how I imagined all of these fights going, right?
Right.
So the three main ones, right? The three main ones. Those are the main ones I'm talking about. So I imagined Robbie Lawler and Ben Askren coming out. Ben Askren just wrestle fucking the shit out of him,
right.
Beating him up a little bit. You know, Robbie's still putting up a fight, getting back up to his feet a few times, but ultimately not winning, just getting wrestle fucked. I didn't really imagine like a TKO or a decision. I didn't have a idea as to which it would be, but I just imagined Ben Askren on top the entire time, like fucking him up. What actually happened was Ben Askren got caught right off top. Robbie Lawler put some fucking hands on him, picked him up, dumped him on his fucking head, put more hands on him, and then then Askren started to scramble, got a hold of his neck, going for a bulldog choke, and fight ends to bulldog choke. So that was a controversial finish.
Yeah, I mean, it was controversial. I mean, obviously, a lot of people thought Lawler was out because
was one of them.
Grabbed the arm. His arm was limp.
Yeah.
But then he said he gave a thumbs up, and now looking at the other angle, he did give a thumbs up. But in that time, in that time, you can't expect Herb Dean to belly down and check all angles and go, oh, there's the thumb up, And if you think about it, if Herb Dean would have let that choke go on longer, and he was out, everybody would be screaming, what a terrible ref, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I can't believe he put his career in danger. And now he stopped it, and Robbie Lawler popped up. He wasn't out. And now we're still like, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't in that situation.
I don't agree with that. And the
Okay.
reason I don't agree with it is because I don't put any blame on Herb Dean whatsoever for his call.
Right.
I think he made the right call as a referee, because as a referee, your job is to ultimately protect the fighters. That's job number one, is to protect the fighters and make sure that they compete within the sanctioned rules and that everything goes how it's supposed to go. You know,
Right.
if the stoppage is called for in order to protect the fighter, which is what he did. He stopped the fight trying to protect Robbie Lawler. He was, in his mind, Robbie's choked unconscious. He does not have blood going to his brain anymore. So if Ben Askren holds that choke, let's say in a hypothetical situation, Robbie Lawler's out and Ben Askren has his neck and he keeps on holding the choke. If he holds it long enough, Robbie Lawler dies.
Right.
That's how that goes. That's why Herb Dean's there,
Right.
is to stop the fight so no one dies.
Correct.
And that's what he was doing. He was stepping in because he thought that Robbie Lawler was out. I thought Robbie Lawler was out too. I literally said it aloud whenever his hand dropped and went limp. I was like, he's out, he's out, he's out. And then he popped up immediately and I went,
It might have been a little early.
you know?
Right.
So I think we all recognized it afterwards. And then, two, I've also come to find out that apparently they explain it to you in the locker room. But one of the things they do, they're like, you know, if you want to be sure to make sure to let the ref know that you're okay and that you're not unconscious, when they grab your hand and, like, try to see if you're still conscious, you're supposed to squeeze their hand.
Okay.
But Robbie's in a bulldog choke. You know, he doesn't know who the fuck's grabbing his hand.
Okay. I mean,
So,
it's a bulldog choke. This.
yeah, I know. But still, you don't know.
Okay. No, you're right.
I mean, you're in a fight.
Look, at the end of the day, his arm went limp,
His arm went limp.
and the fight was stopped.
The fight was stopped.
I don't want to see it again. Askren survived that fight.
That's what you think?
I think he survived that fight. I think seeing what happened to him, he would have had to be perfect, and he discussed what happened, how his arm was on the outside instead of the inside, and that's what gave Robbie the leverage to pick him up and slam him. And I mean, you know, he looked like he was out
Yeah.
after he got slammed and was taking those punches. Thankfully, you know, the fight wasn't stopped then, and now we have this outcome, you know, but I think that goes on another 2-3 rounds unless he really got some dominant positions. I mean, to be fair, though, wait, I have to stop there. Because I think in the Gracie breakdown, they said, and I think other people have said it too, there was still like 2 minutes left in the round. So if he would have held on to that choke, if Lawler wasn't going to escape, eventually he would have went out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could be...
If it was in like we think that it was in.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't seen the angle because, you know, Lawler saying it was over his ear, which is why he couldn't hear, you know, Dean. And then Askren saying, obviously, of course, it's underneath the chin. You know, so I don't know. I'd have to look at a closer angle. But, I mean, look, Askren got his victory. I want to see Askren fight Marty and, you know, go from there.
Fucking Marty.
Marty Usman.
No, we'll just call him Marty. We're not going to call him anything else. Just fucking Marty.
He's a champ now.
Man,
Might want to call him
Marty the champ. I'll call him Marty the champ. That's it. He's Marty. Apparently, from my understanding, he used to legitimately go by Marty.
champ. Yeah.
Like he
Sure
would.
he did.
He would be introduced as Marty Usman, and that's who he was.
To be fair, if he was fighting in the Midwest, though, I'd rather go by Marty than Kamaru.
I don't know. I've never experienced racism at that level, so I can't speculate on that. All right, so that was the first fight.
Right.
Then after that, we got
Let's go to your favorite fights because I don't want to go through the whole card because the whole card.
my favorite fight wasn't even on the pay-per-view.
Who was it?
Zabit and Jeremy Stevens.
Okay.
That was my favorite fight
Why?
because I fucking love Zabit. Zabit is one extremely technical, and then just seeing like Jeremy Stevens trying to capitalize on Zabit because ultimately Jeremy Stevens' only option is to knock him out.
Right, and I think. Do you think what was displayed? Do you think Zabit is championship form? Because Jeremy Stevens is number 6.
Something, yeah.
So I mean, I would like to
was
see.
I'm sure it's
Was, of
changed
course.
since then, but yeah, I think he was 6 at the time.
I mean, I would like to see Zabit against the top 5 now. But do you think he displayed where you like that guy's future champion? Because I feel like before the Stevens fight, it was like, man, this guy's the next. I mean, if you would have went out there and starched Stevens, I think a lot of people like, yo, he's next.
Yeah. Well, that's because Jeremy Stevens has a fucking concrete chin.
Right.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say he's next. I mean, I think he definitely has that potential, though,
Yeah.
you know? I don't know. I don't know exactly how to say it. Yeah, I think he'll be top 5. Like, from this point on, after his next fight, probably. Like, I think he'll hold a top 5 position for a very, very, very long time, at the very least, if not.
Do you give him Aldo?
I think he beats Aldo.
You think so?
I think so.
In a decision, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that would be the most.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, I think he can beat Aldo for sure.
Who is that top? I want to. Who's the top 5 145ers?
Dude, everybody's been leaving 145.
I know to go. I wanna
Fucking
pull up.
Dustin Poirier went up. Fucking Max Holloway's going up. Let's see. You got fucking Brian. What's his name? Why can't I think of his name? Brian. What's his
Ortega.
name? Ortega. That's it. Jesus Christ. You pulling up the 45
Yeah.
pound division?
Frankie Edgar, Cub Swanson.
Give him Cub.
Give him Cub. Yeah.
Give him Cub. He beats Cub. Give him Aldo.
I'd rather see him fight Edgar. Fuck it, give him Ortega. Zabit and Ortega.
I'm down with any of those.
Right.
But I think now he shouldn't be fighting anybody outside of top 5 anymore.
No,
at
not
this
at all.
point.
And I mean, his name, he has enough stock now to where, you're looking forward to seeing him. I think he headlines a card.
Yeah.
I think that'd be dope. An ESPN card. I don't know.
Yeah. What do we even call those? Do we call those ESPN cards?
Yeah.
They're not fight nights anymore, are they?
No, they're not fighting. I think it's like UFC, ESPN. Like, you see those cards. I like them. I mean, it's just nice to see UFC on fucking TV.
Yeah. I mean, it always was on TV. It just wasn't like on ESPN.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing, though. That's all ESPN is sports.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest, sports channel, so why not have them, UFC, I think MMA in general is going to be, the biggest thing in the next. I mean, look how many kids and male, female signing up now, and,
Yeah.
The future's here. You have so many talented, young, gifted fighters that are coming up. Even through the local cards, we could see so much talent.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. And MMA is one of those things where, I know this can sound silly coming out of my mouth loud. MMA is one of those things where you feel like anyone can do it. And to be fair, watching some of the local fights, anyone can do it.
Whatever do you mean, Keith?
I'm just saying.
Whatever do you mean,
Anyone
bro?
can get in the cage. Not everyone can win. Not everyone's gonna look like that. But I mean,
Doug, you might as well just start calling people out at this point.
no, because
Like, so-and-so's a bum, so-and-so's a
no,
bum.
I don't think anyone's like. I'm not gonna call anyone a bum. I haven't fought, so since I've never been in a cage, I can't.
But you could.
Yeah, I could get in the cage. Doesn't mean I'm gonna come out either side.
Is that still one of your things? I know you have talked about that. Is that still a thing for you?
Yeah, if I can stay healthy. I mean, I think
How much you weigh right now?
probably like 225, maybe even like 230. I don't know.
Fuck, man.
I know,
You're supposed
bro.
to be going the other way.
Yeah, but I've been a lazy slob with these babies, and I find excuses. I lost the discipline at the moment, which I told you. I'm slowly starting. I'm eating oatmeal and stuff again. I'm working towards it, but it's like I'm just not healthy right now. My body, I have to figure out what's going on with my knee. I mean, look, I don't want
We
to.
already told you what's going on with your knee.
No, that's not it.
Being a little bitch.
It's not in my bloodstream, bruh.
Did that knee brace not work out for you?
I still didn't feel it. No, I put it on. I walked around a little bit. I did a couple of squats. It's really inflamed. I'm in real pain. And normally I want to grit through, but I mean, I don't have any big fights coming up, and I'd rather rest. And to be fair, I don't rest. The days that I am here, I like to train. and give the teammates an extra body to work with, and But right now I don't feel healthy. I'm fighting an infection, and my knee hurts, and I'd rather just rest. That's my big goal, and I've always been in the past. I've been an idiot about like this hurts, and then kind of pushing it too far, than really having a real injury.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not saying my knee's a real injury, but it doesn't feel right. And the only thing I can kind of compare it to is when I tore my knee, or when I sprained my knee.
Yeah.
And it kind of
Is
has
it
that
the same knee?
No, it's not. It's a different knee, but I mean, I'm working through it. But I mean, my goals by the end of the year, not by the end of the year, but in the next couple months, I plan on losing weight, getting healthier. Working on my photography. My goals are still in front of me that are easily accomplished. We're only in March. I don't think my goals are too far away from me or unrealistic. The fighting, I mean, I just don't have the motivation to fight. I like training, I like everything, but I would rather have a real motivation to get in the cage instead of doing it for fun and going out there against a fucking D1 wrestler and getting slept.
So it seemed like you had that motivation though prior.
Yeah, I did. Then my kids came, and I was like,
Was it before the kids?
It was before the kids. It was right before the kids.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Right then, I was fired up, and I was like, yeah, let's train, let's lose this weight, let's get in the cage. But now, my kids are here, and it's not like, I don't know what it is. I just don't have the motivation. I don't know what the motivation is gonna be. But if I get in the cage, I want that fucking mindset. Like the way some of these guys walk around here, and you can tell they're ready to get in the cage and throw them hands and be prepared to go all over the cage, fight off their backs, do whatever they have to win. I don't have that right now.
Yeah.
And I want to be honest with myself. I can train it. Maybe if I dropped the weight and I got closer and closer to the fight, maybe I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do this. Let's do it. But as of right now, I have no motivation. I don't have the time, and I don't have the motivation.
I mean,
And a part of it is me being a bitch. Maybe if I woke up, maybe instead of getting 5 hours of sleep, maybe
no, I mean not necessarily. I think you're being just honest with yourself,
Yeah.
really. I mean, which you should be if you're going to consider taking a fight. You got to be honest with yourself about where you're at and where your mind is at. Mostly,
Yeah.
that's the thing, man. Is like most people they ignore their mindsets. Like some people will take fights because they feel like they have to, or they feel like there's a like a standard that they've set. To where they have to take this fight. This is what's expected of them, and their mind's not in it ultimately because they're taking this fight because they think that's what's expected of them,
Right.
even though that their mind's not in it, and that's just a dangerous situation, dude.
Yeah.
Super dangerous.
And I think a part of me wanted to fight because I wanted to feel like a part of the team. And this is me personally.
Yeah.
I just felt like I was never fully a part of the team because I don't have that experience of fighting. I've trained jiu-jitsu, MMA, wrestling. I've done it all with all these gentlemen. But I feel like, and ladies, women, but I feel like I'm not really a part of the, I don't know. I feel like there's a different bond with you guys that have actually been in the cage and shared, those moments, win or lose. That's me personally. And I could be, I don't know. I just feel like people have been there that you kind of have that bond with them. And with me, I don't feel like I want to be, I feel like I'm a part of Team Glory and no one's made me feel like an outsider. But I don't know. I always was like, man, well, I'd have such a deeper bond if I step foot in that cage, but I haven't. And, I don't want to get in the cage for a fucking pat on the back or to be like, man, you're one of us.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to do it for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can tell you, but the mindset I have now, if I go in there,
I think you're in the right mindset. I
Yeah.
mean, you're just being extremely honest with yourself, man. I think a lot of people just aren't honest with themselves like that, and that's a good thing that you're doing that, that you're just being honest with yourself. Like, I don't think I put 100% into it. I
Right.
think my motivation was wrong. Like, I think that it's more so I was just going for like a pat on the back and not so because it's something that I want. Like, you got to be honest with yourself, man. There's a lot of times, I know, like me personally, I'll I don't know. You'll get like a weird feeling if something's off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like say fighting, for example, right? Like I got a fight coming up, but my head's not in it, like my motivations are wrong or something, you know, you feel off and you know deep down that there's something wrong about the situation, but you just keep on going with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that you're doing the right thing of recognizing the elephant in the room and you're being like, well, let's take it for what it is, you know?
Right.
If you don't want to fight, you don't want to fight, you know?
Yeah,
And that's really all that matters if you want to fight.
look, if I can get my weight down, which I can, and I will, I get my weight down and I'm walking below 200, and there's a fight card coming up, and I have full interest in it, I will definitely pull Zach aside and say, hey, get me a fight at 185, 170. You know, I will definitely say that.
We'll go for 185.
Yeah, let's go for 185. Yeah.
We ain't ready for that 170.
No, we're
yet,
not.
dog.
I'm not cutting all that weight. But you know, if I got down and I was healthy and walking around and at practice as much as I needed to be, or as much as I can be, you know, I would definitely love to take one fight, put my heart into it, and then win or lose. You know.
What about a like a jiu-jitsu tournament?
Yeah, jiu-jitsu. Yeah,
Have you done a jiu-jitsu tournament?
not in Kansas City.
You got to do that, man.
I mean, there's a lot. I just haven't done it.
Especially at that blue belt level.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna get exposed.
It's a whole
though.
different level.
I'm ready to get
dog.
exposed,
Whole different
though,
level.
man.
I was so scared my first blue belt tournament because I was like, I just got my blue belt. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing. So check it out. All right, so I had just got my blue belt, right? And not only that, but the only people at the tournament with me are fucking like Mike Murray and Tyler Trout. Everybody at the time is white belts, right? I'm the only blue belt there, and everybody knows it's like my first blue belt tournament. And it's like, well, Brian just got his blue belt. Everybody's expecting me to perform well, so there was like so much pressure.
Right.
Went out and dominated, man. It was awesome. It was awesome, but it was nerve-wracking. Because I was
I
like,
imagine, man.
because I'm like going around, I'm coaching all of these guys all day, and then
Right.
my bracket's at the very end of the day, and I'm like, all right, time for all the people I've been coaching to watch me now.
Yeah.
And then it was weird. And then I went out and dominated. Yes.
Yeah. You know, man, I think it's been a while since I've competed in anything outside
Yeah,
of video games.
that's kind of why I was saying a jiu-jitsu tournament, because I know you've never competed at a jiu-jitsu tournament
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah, no. So it's been a while since I competed. Now I'm freshly blue belt. I never did any white belt tournaments, so it's not like I can you know. When I go out there, I'll be fresh, and I put a lot of stock into myself, whether it's deserved or not. I put a lot of stock into myself, and I can be.
Can we just point something out real quick? He's trying to say stock, not stalk. Go ahead.
Stock.
Oh, okay.
What? Wait, what's wrong with the way I'm saying it?
Because you're not saying stock. You're saying stalk. Like a tree stalk.
No,
That's what you're saying.
that's not STOCK.
Yeah, and you're saying it STALK.
No, I'm not. Stock.
Stock.
Stock. That's how you fucking like caulk. That's what I-
Bro.
Stalk.
What?
Stalk. Bro, don't try me. First of all, I'm saying it wrong. You're saying it wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to help you, dog. Just listen to me. Just play it back after all this.
Now say it one more time.
Stock.
You're saying it that way.
Stock.
Stalk.
Stalk.
Yeah.
Stock.
Hulk.
No.
Bro, get the fuck
You're
out.
throwing an
You know
L
what?
in there.
Anyway.
Bro, there's no
I
fucking
put a
L.
lot of fucking stalk into myself. And, you know, I'm ready to prove that shit on the mat. And, I don't know, I can be a sore loser.
Ooh, don't do that.
And I take L's hard.
Don't be that guy.
I take an L hard, man.
Don't.
I take an L hard, man.
Don't.
I like let that shit hang over my head for a long
Don't do
time.
that.
bro.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Mentally-
Not in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Of course not. Because anybody can get caught.
You say, of course not, but then you're gonna. I can just see you at a jiu-jitsu tournament right now, getting
Heated.
pissed off after
Heated.
losing.
You want to do MMA, bro? You couldn't choke me in that.
Dude, you can't be that guy.
I wouldn't.
You ever get like that in practice?
I need to. Because sometimes I cheat myself and I'm cheating my partner when I go easy. But sometimes I don't think every round needs to be a slugfest. But I'm starting to understand now.
Are we talking about MMA or jiu-jitsu?
Both.
Okay.
I'm starting to understand now that not everyone has the same mindset as me. And sometimes when I take it, like there's certain people I go with and I go, okay, I need to you know, I know I'm gonna have an intense sparring match, jiu-jitsu and MMA. But now sometimes when I'm trying to be nice to people, I feel like they take advantage of me, take advantage of my kindness, and now I need to like step it up. I'm not one of those people. I don't think I need to go 100%, you know, brawl wise on the mats. I don't think that's how it should be. I like in jiu-jitsu, I like sometimes when you're flowing, you put yourself in a bad situation, but you understand how to get out of it, and you understand if there's an arm bar there. Both you and your opponent knows there's an arm bar there. You don't have to go for it, but it's like, hey, keep in mind. I feel some people I can flow with, but some people, like, these are fucking, like, we're trying to score points.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the wrong mindset I'm having, but, you know, I'm starting to just change up now.
So you're saying that people go in with the mindset of trying to score points in practice?
Yeah, I feel like sometimes people are like purposely like, not always. This is rare occasions, but I feel like sometimes people are like, I like the mindset of flow jiu-jitsu. Not always, not all 5 rounds, but sometimes I like that flowing, you know, working in and out of positions. You kind of let your teammate, your partner work out of a position, put them in a position, you know, without finishing it every time.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
But I feel like with certain people,
You're saying as opposed to just like the going hard of
yeah,
like,
just going hard and slamming someone, putting them on the back.
No.
know,
I
step
didn't
in.
mean like going hard like that. I mean going hard as in like you're making every effort possible to break their guard, you know, as opposed to just being like, all right, well, I'll just settle in and, you know, maybe go for this or something like that. Like you guys are both like, you're trying to pass their guard just as hard as they're trying to not let you pass their guard.
Right.
Is what you're saying, and that you think you need to do more of that.
Right.
Who do you typically roll with?
I
Is
don't
that
know.
too much? Is that too in depth?
That's too much.
That's too much. Okay.
That's too much.
That's something we'll talk about later, guys.
But
Sorry.
but there's people I go with, like Big Mike. I go with Big Mike, and him and I think we've been going together for years now. So like, I don't mind going with him, and he's advanced. You know, he's surpassed me in his technique because he's put more time and effort into it. But I like still testing him. He tests me, and I trust him. I like going with people. I can go hard with people I trust.
Yeah.
I don't trust everyone on that floor, and that's me personally. And I'm okay with saying that. I know some people might take that the wrong way. I don't trust everybody.
I don't take that the wrong way. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that. There's a
So-
lot of motherfuckers that I don't trust too.
Yeah,
I don't trust you.
you shouldn't.
I didn't know if you could hear that or not.
You
That's
shouldn't.
hilarious.
I got headphones on.
I know. So do I. I didn't know if it picked it up that much. I heard myself, so I should have known that.
You're probably gonna hear it on the episode too.
Oops, sorry. Hit my mic stand there.
But nah, man. I mean, I don't know. Long story short, I'm not at this current moment. I am not looking for a fight, but I will train and get healthier and keep off the weight, just for my own personal benefits. Because I feel like I need that challenge in my life, and I don't. You know, I'm doing it a lot more now. But the past, you know, couple of years ago, I never challenged myself in my life.
Yeah.
So now it's a challenge, because I put on all this weight, and I love fucking Hostess cupcakes and Twinkies and shit. I love that shit.
Yo, you remember when like Hostess went bankrupt?
No, I don't. I would have cried.
That was an actual thing.
No, I didn't. Was it really?
Yeah, they went out of business. And then like some other company came in, bought them up, and was like, "Don't worry, we'll keep making Twinkies."
I remember.
Like
I
it was
remember
like
it.
Twinkies were almost not a thing.
Yeah.
Like
extinct.
I was working at a gas station at the time, and I'll never forget when that article came out. Like loads of motherfuckers came in, bought all the ho-hos and fucking.
You don't think that was a
Twinkies
marketing
and-
scheme?
Could have
That's
been.
a genius one.
Could've
'Cause I
been.
remember being like, "You will never eat a Twinkie again."
Just because you thought they weren't gonna make it
Yeah.
anymore.
Then you buy it up, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, they're back."
They're back. Yeah, no, that was a thing. You know, there's such a thing as chocolate covered Twinkies.
Yes, I do.
Those are the bomb.com.
I've never had one.
I've tasted one before and it was
Delicious?
It was, yeah. Yep.
Dude, there's so much like good food out there that's so terrible.
It's
for the body.
awful for you. All of the good shit is bad for you. What are you talking about?
I remember we used
all
to
of
have
it.
this chart of like things that you like of popular items. It was back in high school, and it would tell you like if Mexican pizza was on there, and I love Mexican pizza from Taco Bell, and it was like to be healthy, you need to eat these once a month. Like you should only have them once a month.
And you're like, damn,
And
I'm
I was
hitting my
having them,
quota
like-
every day.
Like I was having Mexican pizzas at least once or twice every 2 weeks. But I mean, I was playing football. I was like doing 2-a-day practices
you're
and
fine,
shit.
man.
I was
You're
fine.
fine.
Now, I'm in my early 30s. I'm just a slob. Yeah.
You can fix that, dog.
Yeah, no, and anyone can fix that. I think it's all about just
We
having
talk
that-
about this just about every single episode.
That's how important it is. I need it to be a recurring theme. So when we're, episodes down the road, you can be like, damn, look how much weight you lost. And I'm like, yeah, man.
We need to get you to weigh in before episodes.
I know.
We talked about doing that, and then we
did.
just never followed up with it.
We did.
I will make sure. I'll be a better friend. I'll make
you.
sure we follow up
I
next time.
appreciate that. I consider you my friend, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so.
I
at
would
this
hope so,
point.
yeah,
I
no.
would hope so. We fucking do it.
No, because I feel like sometimes I meet people, like majority of the people at the gym, actually almost everyone I consider my friend, but, because I'm so used to work. Like, when I work with some
Yeah.
people, I don't,
No, I know
they're
what
my
you
coworker.
mean. That's how it was. Like, whenever I worked at Target, like
Yeah.
I literally talked to one person that I used to work with at Target, and I don't talk to anybody else. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what you mean. They're work friends. Like, they're still like good people, and I still wish the best for them. But I mean, some of those people, if they hit me up right now, like, "Hey, you trying to hang out?" I'd be like, "How'd you get my number?"
Right. Right.
Those kind of friends. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. There's
I mean, I work here now. I think we've all known each
yeah,
other.
yeah. It's a little bit more laid back though working here though.
Right.
Considering because I think, and the only reason I say it's a little bit more laid back is because it's something that we all love, and I think it's a lot easier to do something that you love, and a lot easier to, not really consider it work.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it is work, but to us, it's not work. Like you love teaching Glory Fit classes.
I do.
I love teaching Glory Fit classes too. I love teaching jiu-jitsu, and I love fucking running numbers behind the desk and shit.
Yeah, I think it's weird. I never thought I'd have a job like this, and I'm very fortunate the opportunity I got in teaching Glory Fit classes. I developed, you guys know more than anyone, a nice relationship and bond with the classes because they're
Because
great.
y'all got story time.
We got story
That story time,
and we
man.
stretch,
That's what it is.
but they're fantastic human beings.
Oh yeah,
I can't think of one person that comes into the class, at least my Glory Fit classes, and I'm like, oh God, why are they here? Like, I look forward to seeing everyone. I know people, I know everyone by names, and they're all interesting individuals who have great stories,
yeah.
and when I get them to open up and share,
That's when it gets kind of crazy because then
Yeah.
you're just like all this time you didn't even know, and it's
Right.
like everybody, like you were just saying, like everybody has such a different story. Like I sat on that couch with Wilkerson for like an hour last week, and we were literally just talking about like his military career and like all the stuff that he's been through, and he's got a wild story. I was just like so interested in everything. I was like, all right, so then what? Then what'd you do?
Yeah, I think that's what I love about this gym. And if you're watching from anywhere else and you have an MMA gym, and if you join, you understand the family, the bond that you get from that gym, from sweating, working every day, and just kind of watching people growth. Watching their growth throughout the time that they're there, whether they're preparing for a fight or they're trying just to get a hold of their health. Like watching people grow, get better. I was looking at Alex the other day, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, you lost a lot of weight. And I was like, yeah. And he showed me a photo of him from a couple of years ago, and I was like, damn.
Yeah,
You've
bro,
came
we
such
can
a
do
long
that
way.
with you right now, motherfucker. What are you talking
Right
about?
now, let's do it, bro. Where's the needle? I mean, what? I will get on the treadmill any day.
You said what? Where's the needle? What are you talking about?
I'm on that John Jones diet, baby.
Oh my God. No, I meant like if we pulled a picture of you whenever you first signed up
Oh yeah.
versus now. God damn, y'all wouldn't recognize Keith. Let me tell you something. That chair would be
No, they wouldn't.
fitting a little tight on his hips right now.
They would. You recognize me. I've always been handsome. He just.
Oh my fucking
There's
God.
a lot of extra fluff around me.
Apparently he likes to lie to our audience.
Another layer of love.
Another layer of love. I like it. But no, we totally got sidetracked off the UFC fights.
We did.
So let's bounce back to that real quick.
Okay.
Wrap that up. Marty Usman and
Woodley was crazy to watch, and a brilliant performance by Marty. And You can't ask for anything more out of your fighter.
Dude, it looked to me like Woodley didn't try. And I don't mean like he didn't try in the sense of like he didn't like just try altogether, but it looked like whenever it came down to him like having to put in like a serious effort to turn the situation around. And I'm talking about those situations where it's like I can do X, Y, and Z in order to try and get out of this position, but he could potentially realize that I'm going for X, Y, Z and stop me from doing it and reverse it, and then it's wasted energy. And I think that that's the mindset that he had. I think he kept on double guessing himself.
Yeah, I think he overthought a lot, and that's what really hindered him. And for some reason, whatever was going on in his life, and I mean, he said there was no excuses. It was just like a bad dream. He wanted to fire, he couldn't let go. And,
I hate that he said that it was a bad dream.
but
Because he's the Nigerian nightmare.
well, if you watch back the fight, you understand what he's talking about.
Shouldn't have said that it was a bad dream. Once he said that, I was like, don't feed his fucking ego anymore.
But why not, man?
Marty.
I mean, he got dominated. I mean, the scorecards were what? You know, those were some of the lowest championship scores
I think it
you've
should have
ever
been
seen.
lower, too, honestly. I think there was at least one 10-8 round in there, you know?
I mean, it's sad. You know, Woodley was such a great champ. I don't think he's the GOAT. You know, I think he was a fantastic champion, and he doesn't get enough credit, and fans didn't like him.
You know, I like him.
Yeah, I mean, I think people from St. Louis and Missouri liked him. You know, but
I like him as a fighter, as a person. He was just whatever. to me.
I liked him. I used to watch him in Strikeforce.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I used to watch all his fights. And
Oh, I was a huge fan of his whenever he was in Strikeforce.
Yeah.
Then once he got to the UFC, I kind of started falling off because Rory was my boy then, and then they were in the same division, you know?
yeah, I mean, I like Woodley, but unfortunately, his time's up.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. You're saying his time's up as champ?
Yeah,
You don't think he can come back and be champ?
as long as Usman's champion, no.
So you think Usman just has his number?
I think it's the same thing with Khabib and McGregor. I don't want to see that fight ever again either. I think you saw everything you need to see.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. That's really interesting. You think that?
Sometimes people just have your numbers.
Matt Waters made a very, very interesting point in regards to the Tyron Woodley fight over the weekend that I didn't think about. He said that he thinks that's the first time that Tyron Woodley actually fought someone who is well-rounded. And whenever he said that to me, my initial thought was not true. Rory McDonald's well-rounded, but he lost to Rory. Matter of fact, that was his last loss.
Right.
So then, since then, who has he fought? Okay, so we got
Maya,
Maya,
Thompson.
not well-rounded, striking shitty.
Thompson,
not well-rounded, ground game shitty.
Till.
Not well-rounded, ground game shitty.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you think he got exposed wrestling-wise? Like, do you think...
I think he got exposed well-rounded wise.
Okay.
I think it was the fact that this dude had answers for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he may not would have wanted to stand with him because Marty's capable of giving him the hands too. You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, look. At the end of the day, we saw what happened in the fight. There's no going back. There's no, like, if he didn't make any excuses, I'm not going to make any excuses. So with that being said, I feel like the way he just kind of, like, submitted to him.
He did. He submitted without submitting.
Yeah,
that's a
I
good
feel
way
like-
to. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
I feel like what would happen in a rematch? How can you build up that fight?
Okay.
He can come out and say whatever he wants,
Sure.
but no one's going to believe him because it's like, we saw what happened.
Yeah.
And you didn't put up a fight then. Well, now that you're not in the cage, now you want to talk, you know. So I think he goes back to the drawing board. He's still a dominant. He still knocks out, you know, anyone in the top 10.
Yeah.
So, but he's gonna need a couple fights unless you know, Covington somehow sleeps Usman.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, no, definitely. But
He's so annoying.
that's the next matchup. I mean, we were saying the same thing.
Are they doing that, or is?
I think that's like confirmed. The next matchup is Usman versus Covington.
I think Covington's gonna get fucked up,
Hey, I hope so.
and I hope he does. I hope he gets absolutely murdered,
I think he does.
and then
too.
I hope he gets cut. I'm just so tired of seeing his face, dude. He's so annoying to me. So annoying.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna hold my thoughts on Covington, but I
Why is that? Let's hear
I
it.
don't know, just-
What do you think?
his gimmick and everything, it's not who he really is. Or maybe he does feel that way, but he's so corny and gimmicky, and it's like you can see he's just like,
This is coming from the guy who was showing me Ronda Rousey WWE
Dude.
videos before we got set up.
dude, I'm so happy that you said that. Ronda Rousey beat up Becky Lynch the other day. She went off script and dominated and beat her up. The refs couldn't even pull her off. I don't know what happened. She went crazy. And watching Ronda Rousey, I think she's ready for noons. I want that Rousey to come back to the UFC. She's where you going, man?
I'm about to fucking leave, dude. You kidding me?
No, obviously I'm joking about the news part, but no, I mean it's fascinating. I told you, man, I'm back in the WWE. It is fascinating watching her get riled up. She's not the greatest actor, so you can kind of see through it. But I mean, I don't know. I was a Rousey fan, and as a fanboy of Ronda Rousey, through her whole reign, I watched Rousey. You got to understand, she was a name in California. So I called Ronda Rousey when she was 1-0, before Strikeforce picked her up.
Yeah.
So I've always been a fan of her. I had posters of her.
Yeah.
When she was making YouTube videos calling out fighters.
That was a thing?
Yes. She used to get on YouTube and call out fighters. Sarah Kaufman. She used to make fun of Sarah Kaufman. Rousey
What would she say about Sarah Kaufman?
she was just making fun of their personas and everything.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was on, like, I still might have the video in my liked profile, like on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I was a fan, and did I think she could beat men and all that stuff? No, not at all. But I mean, you want to see someone succeed that you're a fan of. So Rousey, I get she's not at that elite caliber, especially striking wise. But she did have a reign as champion. She did get more eyes on UFC. Every single female in the UFC should thank her, because she is the pioneer. And watching her in WWE have fun, and watching her be dominant and win these matches that I know are planned out, it's awesome to see. I don't care. I told you, I'm sold.
Okay.
Anytime she puts on the arm bar, like, oh my god, how are they going to survive that? I know she's not really ripping off arms and everything.
Can we just establish one thing, though? There's no such thing as going off script with the WWE.
Of course not.
All right. I just
They
wanna
wouldn't have
make
that
sure.
shit on camera.
'Cause every single time you say, dude, she went off script, I'm literally fighting the urge to punch you in the face. Every single time you say off script, my shoulder
Dude.
hurts because I'm like, I'm trying to punch you and trying to resist at the same time, and it fucking
Dude,
hurts, man.
Look, man, I get it. I'm just buying into the hype, and it's just nice to see Ronda Rousey back on top in that, and she's making millions and millions of dollars, and anyone would want to be in her position.
Yeah, agreed.
So I mean, it's just, and like I said, I'm just a big kid again. I'm trying to find that nostalgia.
Is that what it is? Is that why you're watching wrestling?
Yeah.
You need some nostalgia in your life?
Yeah, that's all it is. I'm a kid again. I was a big fan. Was it WWF with Razor Ramon and all those guys? And you and I talked about it on a previous podcast, so we don't dive into it. But it's,
Yeah.
like I said, it's
Yep.
just, it's fun. It's goofy fun, and the one thing I will say though, if Ronda Rousey did go off script, she could beat every single female in the UFC or in the UFC. Sorry, I do not mean that, in the WWE universe.
Probably. I would say yeah.
Yes.
I would bet my money on it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of, I don't know. She was a hero to me. Watching someone that came from
I'm not arguing your love for Ronda Rousey at all. It just kills me how you were saying that, like, fucking Colby Covington's persona, you hate that, and that he's like fake and putting on a front, and then you look at WWE and I'm like, that's literally what their
Okay.
job is. That's what their job is to put on a front.
But Covington is like inciting like real fans for, like, he's literally playing the MAGA hat and all that stuff card again. I'm gonna go see Donald Trump. He's literally playing that role, and that's not who he is. I like the UFC because of authenticity.
Yeah, okay.
You
I
know,
see what you're saying.
I like it. I like the Diaz.
You're
brothers.
saying that what he's doing doesn't have a place in the UFC.
No, it's a gimmick. It's clearly a gimmick. Everyone says it off camera. He's different.
I'm okay with that. I'm all right with it.
Definitely, no, it's fine. But Rousey, I understand in that universe, in the WWE universe.
I think Rousey did the same thing though when she was in the UFC.
No, she was passionate. When
You
she,
don't think that she was putting on her front
No,
with some of her weigh-ins?
I felt that way until the Ultimate Fighter. And maybe she was playing it up on camera, but you remember when one of her fighters got beat and she was in tears? And she had that and then she was like, I'm gonna make Tate pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she did though. I like fighters that can talk and walk that walk. And at that time, Rousey did exactly that. She went out there and she beat Miesha Tate.
So let me say this though, because the first thing that pops into my mind is the face-off with Holly Holm.
Of course.
Like, I mean, I think that right off top, because
Rousey got exposed and yeah, she got knocked the fuck
but
out.
here's the thing though, is like right whenever she walked out to do a face-off with Holly Holm, I immediately felt in my bones that it was fake, and I knew that she was gonna lose.
I don't think it was fake. I think she had that perception of herself in her mind. Rousey was that chick, and she was hyped up by the media that she was the baddest bitch on the planet. And she walked. Remember, she was getting played at Beyonce concerts.
Who, Ronda Rousey?
Yeah.
What do you mean she was getting played?
When she came out with that fucking do nothing bitch.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, I'm not a do nothing bitch, and Beyonce started her concert with Rousey being like, I will never be a do nothing bitch.
Yeah.
Dude, Rousey was on top of the world.
No, I understand that.
And I think Rousey, when everyone's telling you you're great, you believe that you're great. So I think when she went off with that face-off, she really felt like she was untouchable. And if she would have got a hold of Holm and flipped her over with that judo throw and armbarred her, and still was walking through people, they were having debates that she could beat men, that she could beat Mayweather in a fight.
that was the next thing, was that she was going to be fighting men.
Yeah.
right? If she got past Holly
That's
Holm,
how deep we were in the Rousey. Or at least I was in the Rousey. I mean, I never believed she could beat a man, but I mean, like they were having real debates on First Take.
Yeah.
How long would Mayweather last?
Mayweather wouldn't have lasted long.
Mayweather would have knocked her out.
Would he?
Yes.
Mayweather would have got hip tossed.
No, he wouldn't. He would have knocked her out.
Nah.
Yes.
No.
If Noon's and all them, yes.
I'm not going with that one.
Okay.
I'm not going with that one.
Okay. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
letting you know.
Thank you for letting me know, Keith.
Just letting you-
All right.
We can agree to disagree. But
Back to the UFC card.
Right.
We're about to get into a fight on camera here. Back to the
You
UFC
just said
card.
Mayweather would get hip toss. After Noon's boxed her up. After Holm boxed her up.
Yeah, who are also trained MMA fighters and are jiu-jitsu black belts and also understand grappling. You're talking about Floyd Mayweather, who knows
She
boxing.
never got close. Remember when she tried to go in and grapple Noons? Remember when she ate that fucking two-piece and reached out? You don't think Mayweather would two-piece her up?
I think,
Bro, the issue wasn't
I think
grappling.
she'd fuck Mayweather up.
It's not like she hip-tossed him and then they got off their back and got back up. She couldn't get in because of the boxing.
Yeah, but she went out to strike with Nunes as well.
You don't
Can
think
we say that it's Nunes too and not Nunes?
Amanda Nunes. Oh,
Why do we got to do this every episode? Why do you have to say some shit that like isn't a word?
Nunes?
Yeah, Nunes.
It's not like the American version. You know, I'm not even going to look it up. You know what? Why can't we just agree to disagree? Like, why do you...
What? You like?
Oh, I'm from Florida. I'm from the South.
So you get your own language?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes. Apparently, her name changes when Keith talks. Oh fuck. Anyways. Last fight.
All right, last fight.
Anthony Smith, John Jones.
What do you want me to say?
You know, it was so. Again, this fight card was weird. So this was another weird fight for me, I thought, because it would. Give me a second.
Okay, let me finish.
Give me a second. It was weird and then also typical. So typical in the sense that Anthony Smith started off pretty well.
Right.
Started off promising, right? As do most people do with John Jones. They start off promising. And then everything just starts to slowly but surely go downhill. And that's what we ended up seeing happening. But weird because of the knee.
we knew how that fight was going to end. We knew who was going to have their arm raised no matter what.
I bet on Anthony.
Yeah, you were right. He was such a big underdog, and he was capable of winning. But John Jones is John Jones for a reason. No matter what you say about John Jones, he's still one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. Boxing, MMA, that guy is a monster. And his IQ is on such a different level. That's what separates him from a lot of other champions. He's very understanding, and I think that first round that Smith came out, you can even say Smith probably got the better of him. But then John Jones, the same thing Anderson Silva does. That first round, Anderson Silva will fill you out. And then the rest of the rounds, he adjusts, and then he does his game plan. And I think John Jones kind of does the same thing. He understood what Smith had for him. The only thing that shocked John Jones, which he said, was like how he was coming towards him and still talking, and you know, he wasn't going to quit. And John Jones, I think he finally faced an opponent to where, keep throwing shit at me. I'm not giving up. You literally might have to kill me in this cage. Like, I think a lot of fighters say that, and Smith didn't say that. But I felt like John Jones felt that way. He was like, I'm going to have to kill this guy just to fucking prove a point. The knee was, it is what it is. But, you know, Anthony Smith is who he is for a reason. I think he gained a lot of fans from that, a lot of respect. Would I love to see him fucking sell it and walk out the champion? I think it would have been funny.
That would have been hilarious.
It would have been justice in some ways for John
He
Jones.
just took the DQ, got the belt strap. One, I would have loved it because I would have won a bunch of money. But then two, after that, like, win the belt and then fucking go to the press conference and be like, yeah, if Jones wants to fight me again, he's got to work his way back up. You know, take out a couple of the contenders, then maybe he can get a title shot
That's what
again.
I'm saying. He could have sold it.
Been an asshole, you know?
Then a month out from the
That's
fight.
out of character for him, though.
It is out of character, but then a month before the fight, be like, you know what, I'm going to retire. You know, I feel like, because he has a long career. He could have
Right when it
excuse to
gets
retire.
announced. You'd be like, yeah, I'm actually going to retire
I'm actually
now.
going to retire on top, you know. I feel
Retire on top.
Like, you know, I'm one of the best. I beat.
Yeah, Jones can fight someone else to see who gets the interim title.
You know what I mean? But, I mean, look, he didn't go out. He gained a lot more fans. He's an amazing fighter. And if you want to model yourself after a fighter, you know, Anthony Smith is definitely one of those guys that you can look at and be like, that's who I want to be.
For sure.
You know, he's such a great person, too. It seems like off the camera. We've had the pleasure of meeting him.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell too much from the 5 seconds I got to say hi to him, but, you know, he seemed like a cool, humble guy. And to see where he's come, how far he's come from, you know, when he first fought in Kansas City. You know, and that's not, obviously it's not his first fight, but,
right.
You know, when I first got to witness him, you know, he came back from adversity. He's one of those guys that always comes back from adversity and comes out on top, and you know, what a great fucking story. And unfortunately, it doesn't end with him getting his hand raised in the air, but for him to go from, you know, this oversized 185er to having this crazy streak at light heavyweight, which is incredible, and taking on John Jones and going the distance with John Jones. I mean, damn, dude.
So, I have a different take on the fight, actually.
Okay.
I think part of it is that, like, John Jones, like what you were saying, was like, correct me if I'm wrong. From what it sounded like you were saying is that John Jones was kind of getting smarter throughout the fight, right?
Right.
Like learning Anthony as they go.
Right.
So I agree with part of that, but I also think that a lot of it too is just him getting comfortable and kind of gaining his confidence throughout the fight. I think that's the majority of that. But then also too, I think we saw the exact opposite effect in Anthony. And I think he did exactly what he said he wasn't going to do, and he started fighting John Jones as opposed to the body in front of him.
Right.
You know what I mean? As opposed to fighting the fighter, he fought John Jones.
Right.
And I think that was a very, very big part of it. Because like what you were saying, that first round, like you could almost make the argument that Anthony won that round. And I think you can make that argument because he had control of that hand, and it seemed like he had a very, very solid game plan to keep going for the rest of the fight. And then I think it just got to the point where he started fighting John Jones instead of the fighter. And then that's ultimately what happened. As far as the knee to the head goes, I think, yeah, he handled it like a champion.
Yeah.
Once Herb Dean stopped it, I thought that he was gonna automatically declare it a disqualification because I thought the kick before that was to the head.
Right.
In my mind, they said it was to the arm. I'm calling bullshit on that. I think that was a headshot.
Well, I mean, it was stopped because it was supposed to be intentional. And do you think that kick? And if you think the kick went to the head, I don't think it was intentional.
That knee was intentional.
The
as a
knee was, which
motherfucker.
is why it was
Yeah,
stopped.
Yeah, that
But
knee
the
was
kick wasn't
super
intentional.
That I would have to check the kick again. I just remember like we rewound it in that moment, and I was like, I think that's to the head. I'm like almost positive.
But that was my thing with John Jones, which I was making the case earlier. I think he understood like there's no putting this guy out. And John Jones is not a great knockout artist. I mean,
He's not a knockout artist.
He's not. But I mean, I think he understood. I think he was so frustrated because like, I'm beating this guy every way possibly that I can, and he still won't fucking quit.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. Maybe
he's
that
at
was
such
it.
a high. Why throw that knee? If you were trying to send a message,
Yeah, I don't.
and even then he didn't.
I don't think it was necessarily like him trying to send a message or him like trying to. I think he was just caught up in the moment, and then too with like all the rule changes and regulations. So
Yeah, they did say that because in California, he would have been ruled.
yeah, because they
It
have
would've
the
been
new
illegal.
they have the new rules. Yeah,
Right,
so that
you're
would
right.
that's a legal knee in California, and unfortunately, it's not in Vegas.
You're right. So screw everything I just said in the past fucking 40 seconds.
So yeah, there's that. But yeah, no, I don't know. It was interesting. I'm waiting for the day because here's the thing. I think John Jones is in that mindset now of he can't be beat, and I think the last time we saw that was Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman.
Okay. One, John Jones cannot be beaten at light heavyweight, and who do you think is?
All right, guys. So this is Off the Mat podcast.
No,
We'll see you guys later.
wait. Who do you think is Chris Weidman then? Because his next fight, which could be Santos, you think Santos is gonna go out?
No, I don't know who his Chris Weidman is, but I know that everybody that competes in MMA is beatable.
Definitely, but like when Chris Weidman was coming up to fight Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman was what, 9-0,
Yeah.
right? So there was that capability. Like he's an undefeated fighter. No one really thought that was gonna happen on that night. No one thought Anderson Silva would ever get put to sleep.
Nobody thought Chris Weidman was gonna win.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So when he got put out, but I'm trying to think, but no one's undefeated at light heavyweight right now.
I mean, take out the undefeated part.
Okay.
Chris Weidman in general. Nobody thought Chris Weidman was gonna win.
Well, let's go with the top.
Just like this, nobody thought Anthony Smith could win. Nobody thinks that any of these
Well, he
guys
didn't
can win.
win.
I know he didn't, but one day someone's going to.
Okay. I just want to look real quick just for it.
I don't even know what you're looking at right now.
What? I was looking for the top fighters.
Top fighters.
Top 10 fighters at the 205 division.
Oh.
DC, Gustafson, Santos, Anthony Smith, Uzdemir, Corey Anderson, Dominic Reyes, Latifi, and Jimmy Manuel.
All right. So I'm gonna say it again. I don't know who the Chris Weidman is for John Jones, but someone's gonna beat him one day,
Okay.
and everybody's gonna be in shock and awe, like, John Jones lost. Just like when Anderson Silva lost, everybody's gonna freak the fuck out. I mean, think about it. Try and put yourself back to that moment,
Right.
when Anderson Silva was fighting Chris Weidman. What did you think? Like going into that fight, like
I mean, yeah, of course.
you thought exactly like you do now. You're
Yeah.
like, dude, it's Anderson Silva. Stop it. It's Anderson
yeah, but,
Silva.
But John Jones doesn't play with opponents the way Anderson does.
It's Anderson Silva.
Okay, you're right.
And two, to also hone in on that point, because you were pretty focused on the 9-0 part. What's Chris Weidman now?
Like 11-4 or some shit.
Yeah, Chris Weidman, he's a fantastic fighter, but
Yeah.
it's not like he's the greatest of the great. It's not like he knocked out Anderson Silva and then continued to be undefeated for the next 5 to 6 years.
Right.
His career went up and down. He was a regular fighter after that. He lost some, he won some, and I don't think that it takes anyone special to have a amazing moment like that whenever you take out someone like an Anderson Silva or a John Jones.
Okay.
And I think we're due with John. I think we're due.
Right.
And I think the more wins he gets, the easier that moment is to come.
Okay. I agree. I disagree because of the way he's even stated he's more focused. You know, fighting's been taken away from him twice now
Yeah.
for a long time. And I think he has a different mindset. I don't think he's going to play with opponents the way Anderson would keep his hands down and kind of welcome in, you know, open shots. Anderson still does to this day. I don't think John Jones has that side of him. I think when he goes out there, he has a mindset that he wants to win. He's going to dominate you. And we've seen every style against John Jones.
Yeah.
And there is no answer yet. I think it's kind of harsh to say he's overdue or that he's due for a loss.
What do you mean? Why do you think that's harsh?
Because he's the GOAT.
Don't. That's why he's due for a loss.
Okay.
I think he's due for a loss just because the mentality that
So if he loses, how do you think he loses? Submission, knockout,
it'll be a finish
or decision?
I think
you think he'll get finished?
I think he'll get finished. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. You feel that way?
Yeah. That's the thing. I think it'll be a shocking thing. Just like with Anderson Silva. Here's the thing. If John Jones is in a fight with someone tomorrow, and I don't care, he's fighting Santos, right?
Right.
He gets clipped in the second round and gets dropped.
Right.
How much are you freaking out just in that moment alone? When have you ever seen him clipped and dropped? Like, in that moment alone, you're going to be like, oh my God, he's fucking human. Right?
I mean, I think he's human. I'm trying to look at Santos. He beat Jimmy when
You're talking about him, though, like he's a god.
He's the GOAT. He's not a god. Okay. Okay, hey. We'll see this next fight.
I think that he would get finished, though. I don't think that anyone's going to come in. I don't see anyone coming in with a strategic game plan of going 5 rounds with John Jones and coming out the winner. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about someone shocking the world and shocking themselves, too.
Right.
I think Chris Weidman, when he knocked out Anderson Silva, shocked himself just as much as he shocked the rest of us. You know?
When he knocked him out and was like, you need help up. When he was talking shit, he was fired
Did he
up.
say that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
He
hear
like walked over because he was so fired up after he's been taunted the whole time.
Yeah.
And then he fucking was like, and then they had to like push him away. No, I get it.
I think that that's going to happen. And that I think that'll happen with John Jones. And I think it'll be a finish because I think he'll like get clipped with something, either get knocked out in that moment, or he's going to drop down and someone's going to capitalize in one way or another, either TKO or submission from there. But I don't see anyone going 5 rounds and winning a decision against John Jones.
No,
I don't
not at
see
all.
that happening. That's craziness right there.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Okay.
I can tell that you're like very upset with me.
No, I'm not
saying all
upset.
this.
I just think you are a despicable human being. And,
Exactly.
no, but I think I'm good with this. Anything else?
No, man, we're pretty good. Yeah, we went what, like an hour and a half in,
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. I just clock in.
I think we're close to the 2 hour mark, but who cares?
No
I think
way.
so. We'll find out in a second.
Yeah, we will find out. All right, guys, we're out of here. Is there anything you want to say before we leave?
No, I'm excited for the future, and I hope you are too. I don't know why that's so cheesy. No, I have nothing to say. Don't ever ask me that again.
My bad, dog. Hey, before we got on this podcast, though, he was talking shit like, I see how you are. Sometimes you make it like... That's why I'm trying to make sure I'm
No, it's okay,
including you,
man.
right?
It's okay, man.
You know?
Don't include, I have nothing intelligent to say.
Keith likes to talk shit on me whenever we're not on the podcast here. He'll say little things to me. They're like little daggers. They hurt. I have feelings.
I think Matt Waters would disagree with you.
He's abusive.
Okay.
That's all you guys need to know.
Yeah.
Either way, we're
Hey,
fucking
can I
out
just
of
say, remember when he said if I didn't have my journal, he was going to fist fight me?
here. Turn the camera around. Let's go. Right now.
All right,
We're out of here. Love, peace, chicken grease.
Bye, guys. What a wonderful episode.